Welcome back everybody to the channel. It's your boy DB doing another match preview for this week tomorrow at 7:45. Swansea City v Queen's Park Rangers live at the swansea.com stadium. Obviously disappointing weekend for us as we lost to Millwall, but let's stay in a zone where positivity, I guess, and just take the loss on the chin and move on to the next game. Now, the main concern for obviously this game is obviously Swansea away. Now, Swansea are very good at home, I would say. Well, in previous, I would say, games against QPR. At the moment, they're probably in the same type of form as Millwall, who've just played on the weekend. They sit 13th in the championship, and their recent game was a 0-0 draw against Southampton at St Mary's. It was, and the last win was obviously against Blackburn away, where Swansea beat them 2-1 on the 30th of September. So yeah, they're in a similar scenario as, I would say, Millwall. But obviously Millwall have pushed up into the playoffs. They have after that win. And we are sitting 11th at the moment with just obviously losing that game. We are. So getting into the game, I would say, when every time we go to Swansea City is always kind of difficult. It is, as you can see in the head-to-head of matches, if we go on to that now. So obviously the last couple of results at Swansea have been Swansea beating us on Boxing Day. Everyone remembers that. I believe that was last season, where we lost 3-0. Then we did beat them in the 1st of April 2024, and that was, I believe, the end of obviously last season. Was that, I think, maybe last season? I think that was. I can't think of it, but yeah. But we have beaten Swansea obviously at the Swansea City stadium, but I would say in recent form against obviously QPR and Swansea, I would say Swansea have probably got the advantage at the moment with obviously the results that they've put, obviously at home at Loftus Road and obviously at Swansea City. So yeah, I would say it's probably a difficult game. Now, obviously, last season's loss, the 3-0 loss when we had Marty in charge, I think the performance was really bad. Obviously, we had Kenneth Powell who made mistakes, and obviously certain other players that were at the club still. So it wasn't a great scenario for us in that away game. But we have a better squad now. I technically would say we're still in form because we've only just lost the one game in the last 6, obviously, and I think we could go there and get a decent result. I think, honestly, they have a similar squad to us in depth and quality, where they obviously in centre back they have Burgess and Cabango, obviously Timon on the left back. And they have some other players obviously in midfield and up front that are pretty in form at the moment. So obviously Viptonic, who's a striker for Swansea, scored 4 goals and an assist this season, where Anusa has already got 2 assists for Swansea this season. And they've got Stemanage, who is, everyone should know, is a great holding midfielder or box-to-box midfielder, whatever you want to call him. Galbraith, another great player who's been playing on the left side. He's got an assist this season. Franco, a midfielder that I'm not too sure I've really seen or heard much about him, but he's got a goal this season and he's got a good rating for season stats this year. And then obviously I think the danger man that we probably need to watch out for against Swansea is Ronald Pereira, who has a rating of 7 and has 3 goals to his name and an assist. He does. So that right hand side of Swansea is going to be a very dangerous for us tomorrow. So we're going to have to make sure Davis, and whoever's playing that left centre back role, hopefully not Steve Cook, is going to be on form for us. And just watch out for that midfield. Like, we need Maddison and Varane on point. Obviously, as you can see, I probably haven't put Maddison and Varane in the team, but I'm only going by what I would put out for fresher legs in that sense, because obviously it's a 3-game week this week. But 100% everyone knows he's probably going to be playing the team that has been informed for us constantly this season. So yeah, but I feel like the right hand side looks like the Swansea's danger, and the left hand side is more where they're whipping the balls in, I guess, if it's coming from crosses and stuff like that. If I look at the form of Swansea in the sense of each game, so if we go to like the Swansea game, Swansea were all over them. So possession wise, Southampton were all over Swansea, I should say, not Swansea over Southampton, but possession wise they were all over Swansea. Southampton were match momentum, they were constantly in the game, even though it was at St Mary's. But if we go to a game such as like Leicester City when they went to Swansea, the match momentum was a bit similar, the same end-to-end game, I would say. Obviously Swansea did have more possession, but as we know, ball possession in the game is not always accurate into winning games. So I would say expected goals, Swansea were very favourites on that game. So Swansea do put a big potential threat up front. They will. Now, if we look at their last win, which was Blackburn Rovers at home at Blackburn, where Blackburn did lose, the match momentum was pretty much even, and the stats were pretty much even as well. So it's kind of one of them things where we all know Swansea as a possession side team. We do. They like to pass the ball out from the back and pretty much use the potential of getting the ball into their own into the opposition half, and making sure the threat is there constantly in the opposition half. So I would say that's what I'm used to seeing from Swansea for the last couple of seasons. Obviously, it's a different manager compared to obviously what we've recently seen from Swansea, so it could be a lot different. I haven't really paid too much attention on Swansea this year because they don't seem like the same team as they was last season and the season before that. So I feel like they're in the same category as QPR from last season, I would say. So going to Swansea, it should be. I'm hoping a big, not a big win, but a good result and a big match. It will be, but I'm hoping for the 3 points away. You know, it's not easy going to Swansea, but the likely chance are it's going to be a 1-0 win or 2-1 win or something like that. I don't see us scoring hefty unless somehow we start the game like we did against Millwall, where we're all out attack, but we use our chances and score the goals that we need to at the start of the game. So yeah, obviously we know, talking into the QPR squad though, we know Poku, Chair and Clark sort of all played in the development side, who beat Bournemouth 4-1 in the cup, the Premier League Cup, last night I believe it was, and I believe Poku did score. So if we do see them on the bench on tomorrow, then it's going to be pretty decent to have some players that are coming back from injury and the experience. Now, a lot of people on here, I should say, obviously are not too clear on Ilias Share anymore. I wouldn't say he's dying down, but I would say now we've brought in other players, and obviously because of his injuries, a lot of potential is coming through, and yeah, it might be a bit of a struggle for Ilias Share to get into that team now with his injuries. So yeah. Foley says, "Hey DB bro, how are you mate? Hope you're doing good. Hopefully work's all good for you." But yeah, I would say when we do suddenly get this Poku back in the team and Ilias Share, and I know Clark Soul apparently was subbed off 30 minutes yesterday into the game, so it's a very, I really wish Clark Soul all the best. You know, I really hope he gets his injury problem solved. But looking at it, like when you sub someone for half an hour, unless it's, we was told that he got stamped on, but I don't know. I worry for him, because he's still a great centre back, but it's one of them things where if he goes into a tackle and a challenge, is he gonna get injured? And we can't have that as a centre back, just because if we wasting subs on centre backs from injury, it's not gonna be great. But I do hope him the best. And I do hope he recovers well from whatever, if this is a serious injury. Nothing's been put on Twitter yet or anything like that, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we might see him tomorrow night. He might be given the rest till Saturday, so we'll see what happens. Foley says, I'm a little nervous about this one too. Yeah, no, Swansea away is always a nervous, well, Swansea even at home is still a nervous game. It's one of them sides, like you said, for us, we have a couple of kryptonites. It's like pretty much that. There's a couple of clubs that are lower league. Well, not lower league, but you'd expect to beat them. But they just do the job, which is crazy. The teams that I would say that we always are wary about is Norwich, Swansea, and I would say Hull City as well. They're the kind of clubs that we kind of get wary about. So yeah, but. In defense wise, there's only 3 defenders that we should watch out for, and that's Timon, Burgess, and Cabango. Key has not really done too great this season, I don't think. So yeah, I think we can get into that behind the back 4 pretty well if we put up the best forwards. And I'm not saying put Frey and Kone together, because we know it doesn't work now. We see it doesn't work unless he changes something in training to do with Frey behind Kone. Maybe that might help, but yeah, we all know it doesn't work. We can see that. So yeah, Foley says Poku with Dembele would be a good one on each wing. I like Dembele, but I still think he'll be better in the middle. And it's like Sato. I think Sato does well on the left, but I also think he does well a bit better on the middle because of chances created. But we'll see what happens. And obviously, listen, we got loads of games to go with all these players coming back, so we'll see how it goes. We have so many players now at QPR that are quality, and it's going to be hard for Julian to pick. Honestly, it really is. He's got to pick the best team, but knowing Julian, the only time he's going to rotate a squad is the 3 game weeks, and that's it. He knows the players there now, and he knows who his best players are, and he's going to have favourites, and he's probably going to be played. Like, look at Madsen. Madsen last season wasn't doing great. This season, he's doing quality. Honestly, he's bloody brilliant. So. It's gonna be one of them things where rotation is gonna be in that 3 game week constantly. So that's one thing. And on Twitter, a lot of people are gonna say, well, we can't do that because it's not exactly, we need to play our best team. But you need to understand, you can't just play your best team constantly every day, every game, You need to rotate. You have players to keep happy, Unless you want to sell them players on, cool. But you're not going to do well. In this type of football aspect in the Championship, tactics is a big thing. You're not just hoofing the ball up there for a goal. Sometimes it does work. But you need to change it up for certain reasons, Like, for example, Swansea. If Swansea are a very passing, basic team, you're going to want to put a certain aspect of a team out that are much more fitter than other players. You're going to need a lot of Genga press, probably, against Swansea. You can't get caught in that danger. And that's when Burrell comes in, Just like Foley says, Burrell and Kone for me, that is probably going to be the best suited forward against Swansea tomorrow, So that's how I see it anyway. So yeah, but Swansea, like I said, they do present a threat at home and away. They always have with the players that they got. They seem to find the right manager, that the way they want to play. But I don't really know much about this manager, I'll be honest. So I can't really say he's amazing or anything like that. Unlike other previous managers that they've had at Swansea. But all I can say is, going into the game tomorrow, it should be a good game. It'll be very end-to-end on a Wednesday night. If it's a rainy day, you're going to see a lot of challenges every time in Swansea. And we got to be careful if Mbenge plays. We don't want him sent off. So yeah, I think we got to utilize long balls to get the ball into their half. We got to utilize when we get the ball back in their half. We got to utilize how we keep the ball in their half. That's the main thing, and also making sure crosses are on point for Kone and Burrell. Counter attacking as well is a big thing. We need to use our counter attacks well. So for example, if you are using Burrell, and say for example Paul Smith or Sato or whoever it is, keep them on the halfway line, ready for the counter attack. There you go. You know, it's pretty simple to get them goals. It really is. It's not. You know, Swansea is a quality team, but counter pressing Swansea is the best thing. Look at Marty Fuentes this season for Leicester. He's playing boring football, and I hate to say it, but it's the truth. He's playing boring football. Most of his goals either coming from counter attacks or the craziest shots from a player when they're on the attack. So the counter attacking football against Swansea, what they played was bloody brilliantly, you know. So I put Swansea as a team that is good at passing, but we need to just put pressure on them constantly, you know. I'm not saying control the game, but I think when we utilize the ball and get it, we need to put it into their half and continue from there. Foley says JS did say it will be different next game. He said that before. He kept it to his word. Julian is that, I'm guessing you're saying Julian Stefan, not Jake Clark Solar. So yeah, did say it will be different next game. He said before the kept. Yeah, so he's gonna change it up 100%. You know, like he said, he's used to. When have we got Sheffield United? That's a good question, actually. I don't know. When do we have Sheffield? Sheffield United, 8th of November away. So that might be a difficult game for us. You know, even though we have beaten them last season away. But listen, I think with Chris Wilder, it's gonna take him till the end of January to get his team sorted at Sheffield United. So yeah, we'll see what goes on with that one. But right now, let's take it game by game. You know, I believe in what I've seen from Julian. I'm really happy with the football that we're playing, and I believe he can get us into the playoffs. Like I said, you know, for what I believe Sky, or someone said it in the last game, you know, Julian did have a word with the Sunderland manager last season about how it was and all of that, and I do believe the performances and the results that we're getting are similar to the ones that we're getting at Sunderland like they had last season. So in my opinion, I feel like we have a team that's good enough for the playoffs, but do we have a team that's ready for the Premier League? That's the main question. And I think a lot of people, if we go playoffs, a lot of people are going to say yes, we need to be in the Premier League, but I don't think we're ready yet. We're not. I don't want to be that yo-yo team that goes up and down, up and down. We need to build a squad first, and we just started to do that this season. You know, obviously last season was brilliant. This season's even better, but we need to improve that next season. So yeah, we'll see where it goes on that one. But let's take it game by game. But as you can see, let's talk about the squad that I've chosen. So Nardi in goal, obviously. Now a lot of people. There's mixed emotions about Nardi on the weekend. He did great. He should have done better, in my opinion. You know, and most of the chat I think would agree that first goal was not his fault completely. You know, you don't expect a keeper to come out running like that, because if he did come out running, you know, and they lobbed him and scored, a lot of people would be moaning. So, you know, it's gonna be one of them things where, you know, a keeper is going to make mistakes, but that whole solution on the first goal against Millwall was all Cook and Davis, in my opinion. So, yeah, I would not blame Nardi on that one completely. The second goal, though, that comes down to keeper and all the defence, where the marking was horrendous, man. Even by Davis, that should have been better. So yeah, but I've chosen obviously Dunn, Morrison and Benge and Norrington all at the back. Norrington obviously on that left side just for strength wise. Escudina, I think he might do a good job, but I think we need physicality as well, just in case. Morrison and Benge, I just think they're a great combination for QPR, and they're the most informed centre backs that I think in the Championship at the moment. And Dunn obviously at the right back, who done an extraordinarily incredible job against Millwall. I thought he bloody played his socks off, you know. I think that's probably one of his best performances I've seen this season. But Morrison and Benge, when Benge changed the game against Millwall completely when he came on, it just looked like a whole different team. So yeah, Foley says, yeah, I'm happy to playoffs be nice, but I think 10th. Yeah, top 10 for me is more realistic than anything. I'm happy with that. Because we're still building, man. It's one of them things we're still building. In midfield, I've chosen Hayden and Field. I think the combination of Hayden and Field are brilliant, but I also think it's going to be that rotation thing again on a Wednesday night where we're going to need it. Obviously Hayden is the holding, Field is the Madsen. That's the only way to say it. In midfield, as you can see, it's kind of a bit different what I've chose behind Kone. I've actually chosen Dembele, Vale, and Sato. Now, the reason why I've done this is because I think pace is going to be vulnerable to Swansea, and we need that. And Dembele and Sato can provide that on the wings. I've put Vale in the middle just to see how he does with Kone. I think he can support Kone really well. He's not as pacey as Burrell, obviously, and he's not a machine, but I think he can put those balls into right areas for Kone to get into the box, because that's where the goals are going to come from, in the box against Swansea. We ain't going to do long shots 100%. If we do get a long shot, it's probably going to be a set piece. So, you know, and that's why I put Vale there, just because I think he can put them balls into Kone, into areas that would be best for him. Sato and Dembele are going to be those players that running into the box, causing the threat, either shooting or passing it into Kone or Vale or whoever it is in the box. Kone obviously is up front, but there's no doubt, you know, listen, we can't put Kone out there. Obviously we have Frey, and we also have Burrell, but I think Kone is the only one that has 4 goals, and he's got to play because, think of it, we playing against a team that has 2 players that are top scorers in that Swansea team. So yeah, that's my team that I choose, but 100% he's probably going to play Dunn, Morrison, Cook, Escudina, I reckon, and he's probably going to, the midfield is probably be the same. Maybe Madsen might get a rest, but I think everything else, Burrell and Kone will probably play, unless he chooses Frey because of a certain thing. I don't know, because like, look at it, he knows his team. Frey, Julian does, you know, he's not an idiot, you know, that's why he's head coach QPR, you know, he's one of the best, so I have full faith in him. So yeah, Foley says, I think he played well, to be honest. Cook let him down. When you say you think he played well, do you saying Davis or someone else? Yeah, I'd like to see the field back. Vale needs to start, but I think on the right wing. Like I said, I'm constantly going to repeat myself about Vale. He's one of my favourite players for the last 4 years, 3 to 4 years for Chelsea and QPR, and obviously England as well. When I watch him play, he's not a machine, but he is energetic and he has the energy to play in every position. You know, he can't play centre back, but he can play right back, left wing, right mid, left mid, complete wing backs, both sides. He could play holding, he can play attacking. You know, he's an all-round midfielder which you need in your club, at your club. And I've been waiting for him to be snapped up by a championship team for a long time, and luckily QPR were the team last season in January to do it. So Vale for me can play anywhere, but I feel like he'll utilize and play better either on the left or in the middle. So yeah, on the right, you know, he's done well on the right, but I think on the left he can cut in and score some nice, incredible finesse shots, because that's what he's used to. So yeah. Foley says Kone is the right position at the right time. Should have had 3 against Millwall. I think Frey possibly could have been the issue for him not scoring. I don't think he has scored with Frey on the pitch. I know he obviously scored against Bristol City, but I think there was a Frey came off. I think I'm not too sure. I can't remember. But yeah, Nardi. Yeah. What are you saying? Well, oh yeah, I get what you mean about Nardi now. Yeah. Cook let Nardi down. Yeah, for that thing, I've already had the rant about it. I'm not going to go on about it because we had a lot of Millwall fans get annoyed with what I was saying. So yeah, I'm not going to get into that rant again. But yeah, I think Nardi number 1 for me completely. And it wasn't his fault. So I will say that. So any QPR fans, hit the comments below on what you think the team's going to be. Who do you think's going to... Who you think's been doing well? Let's go there, man. To be honest, who do you think is the right player at QPR right now? Let's say that. Put your comments below, see what it says, go from there. Is there anything really else to cover for today's preview against Swansea? I don't think there is. Just basically everything I've covered, really. So yeah, hopefully we get the win. 67 to 18 points to get. We can get into the playoffs if possible, depending on results tonight with other clubs and obviously tomorrow. But we will be live for the watch along tomorrow. It's at 7:45. It will be on Sky Sports Plus, I believe. So we will be watching that for sure, and we'll be live streaming. So we'll see where it goes. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll see what the team says, and fingers crossed we get to see Poku, Chet and Clark are all on that bench tomorrow night. If not, hopefully Saturday. But I'm excited, man. Honestly, we can only look at the good times that are coming to QPR now. So yeah. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to, and shout outs to Foley as always. I might as well put it in there. So much appreciated for tuning in. We are killing the like buttons and the subscriptions. So yeah, I much love and much appreciate and thought I'd show my appreciation on that. But yeah, we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Have a lovely evening, and if you're at work tomorrow, well, hopefully you finish early and you don't get pushed out, and we'll go from there. And hopefully we'll put some EAFC QPR career mode out soon. I know it's been a while, but we've been pretty busy with certain things, sorting out the computer and stuff like that. So yeah, cool. Kone defo for me for sure. Foley, I agree with that. Cool. Well, we'll leave it there, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Hopefully you guys can tune in. Yeah, we'll catch you in a bit. Enjoy the rest of the evening.